floating around.
Oh, you want it?
Please.
Sure.
I think I'll just talk to her and get back to my girl and see what happens.
My letter opener out of my pocket.
Pocket knife?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to have that in the buildings, right?
Well, I know. Hardly enough to make you bleed.
Just well, I can get it open, but I don't have to get it shut back. But that's where I think I'll hurt myself when you're pushing back in.
Usually they're dull anyway. They're just dull.
Did you guys,
You want it sharpened?
are we supposed to be doing anything
I'm
more
not
that
complaining,
pipeline
Jenny.
stuff?
What?
Sharper than
Did
so
you
far,
see that
sure.
thing I sent you?
Yes, I did.
I thought that was like, why are they sending it to me to share?
Yeah, I don't understand it either because the last thing I worked on here 2 weeks ago, it's not installed, but it's not even finished.
We don't even know if it's gonna come in.
No, it's not even like coming in that time.
So we don't, what if we would have already committed and signed up with those people? Oh boy.
We've got that pipeline going through the southeast corner of the county.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just
That's all
asking,
we're talking about.
Oh,
cause I got those emails to share with you
I
guys,
think
but
it
I
got
was like,
changed, the name
why?
commercial bank got good. Let's say. That's a, yeah, probably quit jumping back and forth across the highway.
Common sense.
Yeah,
there was,
well, they still got the problem of the cemetery on the Benton, Iowa line.
I was talking.
oh yeah.
They didn't even know there was a cemetery there.
Too on mental health stuff.
My question was, are you going
So the
12 foot
one guy
deep or are you gonna go on the poles?
Told me the whole opposite of another person.
Hello there, can I call you
Alright,
after the
somebody,
meeting?
so then I asked Carla back in Delaware to say, okay, who do I need to talk to?
Okay,
there
2273.
was
Well,
a
and that's just
break
it.
in the
We had ISAC
pipeline.
meetings
Yeah,
before, and we were all
472.
talking about it.
Mhm.
Louisiana.
It's gonna be too
2273.
late at
Thank you.
ISAC before
Bye-bye.
Rick-
Did you watch
budget's
any of that?
coming.
So I did.
And I get that we
Wasn't
can do
good.
our finagling behind the scenes later, but it's still, we're putting it in and out.
Ready, go?
Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We don't have no timed items, do we? Except the
do
call to
not.
order. Awesome. Mona, let's start with you then.
All right, so when you guys met Tuesday, you guys had made the decision for the raises, things like that. And I know, at the end of the meeting, you had said, certain percentage with the exception of what May had, written said letter about. So, I am back because I guess May, me, no one for that matter, would have ever foreseen that as a decision in the sense of like the percentage across the board. And so initially when May wrote the letter, her and I were under the understanding that basically if she hadn't written said letter and it was decided, we're gonna say that everybody in the county got 2%, right? That what I had originally budgeted would have gotten dropped to that 2%. So she wanted to ensure that minimally that was what I had gotten. So that was why the letter was submitted. I know Rick at the end of the meeting you had said, basically going with what May was recommending. So I understand that by even listening to me, it opens the door for potential other people. My one argument with that, or my one, I guess, rebuttal, is the region covers 100% of my salary, whereas no one else that would potentially come out of the ward work can say that, that another entity covers 100% of their salary. I have emails from May that says that she supports me matching what everybody, with the rest of,
The county.
yes, so the 10. So I just kind of wanted to bring that to you guys, and if you guys need these emails, I know I forwarded them to Tracy, and I just kind of wanted to bring it, and hope you guys don't crush my soul.
I haven't talked to Mona specifically about this, but I would assume that it shouldn't be an issue just based on the fact that obviously that was not a last minute decision, but, compared to when we maybe would normally make a budget decision, she wasn't able to get that information to May ahead of time. So to me, it makes sense that, I don't know, is Lindsay region funded or Missy? So
Everybody.
so to me, it would make sense since the other ones I assume are falling in the 10%, Sarah's partially, but,
Well, hers is, so she's 84.16.
but either way.
Both the GA side and the MHTS side are match that.
Yes, so, so that would just put Mona's match with everybody else.
How does that affect Sarah? Isn't she 84.16?
Well,
She's 10 across.
It'd be
It
10%
would be
and then
10
we
the
break it
same.
up in the funds.
yeah, and then they just break it up on the back end.
So she would, her salary is across the board, so she got 10% on both sides.
And then they do their thing on the back end to break that out, so.
Okay.
And I don't know if it helps you to see the additional email that I would recommend that be adjusted to that. I don't know if you need that, so that way you know that the region is covering 100% of it, they're on board, they have absolutely no issue with it. So. Don't tell me now, Tracy.
Well,
Everybody, underneath you, they got the 10%, correct? You're the one that got singled out
Because originally when her
because of the letter.
Right.
she was getting
Right.
more than the other ones in her original budget.
Mhm.
So the reason for that was, so the reason May had, so we're gonna say everybody had gotten 3. The reason that May had written that letter so that it would have been more than the original,
Sure.
what would have normally have been 3, was because of the additional duties with Missy, with the hub, things like that. She wanted to make sure that there was a different compensation for that. And so that's why when she had written that, and she put directly in the letter, I understand that this is going to probably be substantially more than what's normal, so.
Well, 7% inflation, cost of living's more than normal.
and the
So
difference between what asked and the 10 isn't, it's.
I don't have a problem with it at all
Yeah.
because it is covered with the region.
I don't either. It's a pass-through. It costs the
Yeah.
county
Yeah.
nothing.
And even if it wasn't, right is right.
Yeah, and I know, cause I had the discussion of like, so if there isn't, like if I had just put it on the budget, right? At the additional amount that May had told me, but I hadn't had any kind of letter, you guys wouldn't have known that this is, May had specifically asked for that additional amount, which is why the letter, was presented to start with, so,
So do you need a motion?
yes.
I'll make a motion that Mona's salary is adjusted to reflect that 10% increase.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, you love May, because she doesn't care either.
I've already told her how much I appreciate it. So, all right, I will let you guys get to it. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'm going to go send you that report right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just a second.
Sit back.
On the driveway deal, I'm working on over the weekend here. It was brought to my attention that the concrete bid is gonna be over 100,000. So legally, we gotta get bids, advertise it.
Will we be able to have those in by, so regional governing board is gonna be the 3rd week, and I have to get them to them by like the 2nd week.
If we get it sent out, if we put it on act as an agenda item Tuesday, then get it out for the bid notice, correct?
It's gotta be pretty quick.
Yeah, but what if they know the worst case scenario? Like, if you told them the lump sum, like what you think?
Well, see, when we first started figuring, I was up here this morning with him. Anyway, he was estimating, nothing on paper yet, but right around 118,000 just for this alone. So that's where I said, oh, we got problems then. So then
Well,
he talked me into, well, what we could do here on this side, cut it back to 95,000. In other words, don't pour it all. Leave a chunk where that snowbanks are in that area.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's,
As far as the project itself, since this building was its own capital project and the transportation one was separate, I think that's the only way you could get it separate. Because I had those in two special capital projects funds separately. We had
Okay.
1551 and 1513.
Okay.
That's,
But see, that, I'm not talking anything on,
you're not even
Yeah,
talking his.
on the
So
west
this would
side,
be all
right.
one.
No.
Then no, you would have to do that as one project. Because it was still specific
because
to
if then
this
if we
building.
add this to the west end of the building, digging all that asphalt out, putting concrete in that, you know, that, he's gotta go home and really push a pencil, cause that's gonna be a lot of money.
right.
So
So-
then, he suggested, another thing is if we get that, and I said, I don't know, the company from Farley come down and just put asphalt in here the way they wanted to do it on this end of the building. I said, well, they're losing the $65,000 bid here just to do a 16,000. I don't think I can get them back down here. And I wouldn't blame them. I
Well,
wouldn't.
And why do we wanna do something that's gonna last 40, 50 years compared to maybe 20, 25 years? You know, and I don't know that.
But if you add the two
Statistically
projects together,
correct.
you know, you're gonna bang
I know.
way over 100,000.
I get it.
It'd be close to 150.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just giving you that information.
how many, all right, so when bids go out, so you have to do it, the multiple bids, how many, realistically, how many people will potentially,
Bid on it, maybe two.
okay? So if you know, say if you know the two, I mean, can you talk to them directly and say, okay, here's your timeline, like, we have to have this number in?
And we have to have those bills in before June, whatever that is, we have to get the
June
reading.
30th.
Yeah.
So, but they won't, so Regional Governing Board won't approve any more fund balance projects after February.
Right. I was reading that too. Otherwise, we actually have to, it's even before June 30th, turn over our funds.
Mhm.
So we'd want that moving fast because we have to have the work started before we get those invoices
So
to
how
pay out.
quick can we get this advertised and bids in?
Mhm.
I would say, since we've discussed the I mean, it's not an action item until you accept bids anyway. So if you guys wanna get that out to the paper, get something, we could do something similar to what we did with the transportation building. Explain the size,
How long does it have to be in the paper?
not less than more than 10 days of when we. open.
10 days?
Mhm. It's usually what that is.
So,
So if you count, if you get it sent, it's gonna be too late for this week. It could probably get in the Gazette possibly Monday,
is it
and
10
then Benton
business days?
Tuesday, and then the
Live
other
wire
bid
on
on Wednesday, and then
Wednesday.
and then Friday. And then you count back the days you could get your, cause when is your meeting?
Is it 10 business days or is it
It's 10 calendar days.
10 calendar days?
So, when is your meeting? February?
24th, but I have to have everything
So if you
in
had it
by
all-
like the 11th.
Oh, so, wow, cause that'd be,
And I mean, and I can double check with them to see if I can get them something on the like 14th.
10 days would be the 9th, so maybe you guys will have to have a special meeting on the 10th to act on it so that she has the amount going into the 11th. Or, what, yeah, that's my only suggestion. And you could probably do
There's
that.
no problem having a special meeting,
No, you could probably even do it over the phone,
sure.
if you send everything electronically out and look it over. But we would just need to hurry up and get that notice sent out. With Benton paper, we have no problem. The Gazette, you'll have a little leeway, so.
I'd say get it done.
If we're gonna do it and have them help pay for it,
Well, and then it's also less money that we have to
give.
give back.
Yeah,
So-
because that is our dollars we collected in the county, otherwise it's going to the region.
And I mean, and it's a project that's been being talked about
But you can
After
always,
3 years.
she can't pay for they're not gonna approve the full funding of it, correct?
No.
Okay.
No, we can't because.
Right, it's only still that percentage. But still, it's a neat little chunk that we can keep in our county would be nice.
And DHS, Penny will pay for some of it too, right?
Right,
Correct.
she's already been.
But it's 10 year, I know,
10
she's
year
another one
payback.
that's.
Yep, because they have to change their amounts as well if they know, once we know that percentage.
Well, let's, I hate to dump one more thing on, we'll get together, all right? Me and you.
I have
get
a
in
meeting at 6 tonight, so I'll be working till
Okay.
6, so if you wanna get our
Okay, yep,
notice ready
yep,
after that.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
So whatever I need to do, let me know. I can check if I can, what's the last day, basically. I'll go email Shelley right now and find out like when's the 11th hour that I can get her the information before it's on ready.
You
Yeah.
think she could still put her agenda out and then not know the quotes until you come forward, but.
Yeah, I mean, I can ask her to put it on just for Benton County fund
Mhm.
balance and then see.
And then once you have your quotes in front of you in hand that day.
Yeah, we could put it on the agenda, and if we don't act on anything, we just,
Yeah,
Scratch
because I
it
know
off.
typically the forms that she sends out, it asks like, what are you asking for? Does there need to be action, the amount, that kind of stuff. But if I have her at least put it on the agenda, then potentially if I can give her the numbers
I'll pull up some of
Still
those
that-
notices and try to tweak it.
that week before
Okay.
May finalizes everything. So,
Okay.
all right, let me know what you need from me and I will, Haley, I will email you and let you know what the 11th hour date for me is. Okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you guys, have a good weekend.
You too.
Krista,
Do you have an agenda item? Because mine will take a hot minute if you want to get yours done. No? It's you. Okay.
She's here to find out
She's here
about
to
the
find the
Okay.
insurance, and like I said, Kirsten, all I've given them is the ISAC sheets.
Okay, then that's different than what?
Yeah.
So the
she's
first
gone-
thing I have, we'll just do the easy one, is the wellness agreement for this year with ISAC. Absolutely nothing is different in it than what it was last year. I already told you guys about the one change that's a good change, is about the physical change and not having to have the blood work and all of that stuff. But I need to get this signed by Tracy. It just asks for the chairperson. It's their form, so. And then I'll meet with me and I'll get Haley a copy.
So you're gonna need a motion to authorize your signature on that.
wellness program agreement.
Well
for-
said.
For fiscal year 23.
That's my motion.
second.
Second it, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Do they still make you list out the people on the committee?
Yeah, I have that separate.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're still.
I haven't quite finalized that yet, because I was gonna see if anybody knew, wanted to join it. Okay.
Do you want me to put your cell phone on this one or the supervisor line for your notice? Just ask.
All right, so there's kind of a lot of numbers ahead of you. I don't know, if I do have an extra set, Barb, if you want to follow along. I normally wouldn't have extra, but I printed one, so there you go. So the rates that went out on the notices to the department heads for their budgets are a little bit under.
This is the amount, what I gave you guys on that sheet was the ISAC rate.
And that's only one piece of our overall health and dental, or not health and dental, but our health fund. So that premium that you guys have seen for the ISAC that had the 8.4% increase, that's what buys us our $5,000 deductible plan and then the really high out-of-pocket plan, okay? Then we have our partially self-funded plan where we buy down to the $500 deductible and the $1,000 deductible, okay? So if you look at the sheet that's got the majority of the information on it, okay? Based on, and I'm not gonna bring in the whole sheet because I can tell you I've had these numbers verified and I spent 2 hours on the phone with Katie yesterday. But effective July 1 of 2022, our total cost for a family plan, all in, that's ISAC, the fees, and the partially self-funded, for family is $1,995.09, okay? Then the single is $892.59. There's really not anything we can do to change that piece of it. That's the piece we need to be setting aside so that we can try to, our reserve has been like dwindling. That's the number we need to set aside, per Katie, to make sure that we can work our cushion back up with our reserve to where she would be comfortable with it long-term based on our debt and our liabilities with our medical, okay? So the main thing that I came to talk to you all about, and I laid out the scenarios. So currently, if you see where the top line, it says current rates, okay? So currently, these are per month, the employees for family, and these are non-sheriff's office, that's negotiated. I gave you a second sheet just for informational purposes on that. These are for everybody else other than the sheriff's union. They pay $322.50 per month for health insurance for family and $72.50 a month for the single. Katie and I went through and we broke out what it would be, and these are approximate percentages. It was like 16.1112%, I just 16.1. But if we added 2.5% to what the employees pay and 5% to what the employees pay. And if you follow along, it'll show you next to total cost, it'll show you under each of those different increases or no increase, what the employees would pay, what the department share will be, the approximate percentage that the employees are paying on that total cost. And then I also broke it down just for your information, what each of those increases, so the 2.5 and 5, what does that look like per month and what does that look like per pay period? I wanted to do it because per pay period, we have 26 pay periods, not 24, so it breaks it down a little bit there. Katie recommends 5%. She actually said 5% is ideal, 2.5% is fine. She adamantly was opposed to not raising them. We did, from what I found, we did not raise them last year, so we should probably not follow that trend again. My recommendation is the 2.5% raise, so that would raise the family plan $22.38 a paycheck, and the single plan $10.25 a paycheck. And I was kind of just doing some rough math before I came in here. I thought that was a reasonable amount to help cover our butts a little bit, not pass on a significant cost to the employees. And then also, so as we know, wellness has been a big thing here. I'm hoping if we keep the increase lower and the 2.5%, that I can use that to help motivate employees to continue to do the wellness program, and then also find a way to eventually give quote unquote more to the employees who choose to participate. Yes, Tracy? Oh, okay. I just forget something to say. So my official recommendation, like I said, is the 2.5%. It's a little, she gave me graphs, charts, all these actuarial stats behind the scenes. I spent 2 hours talking with her yesterday. I'm not gonna bore you guys with all of that. I don't think it's necessary. If we do, so the total cost going to the 1995-09 and the 892.59, regardless of what share the employees pay, which obviously it's still county money, but that's gonna really help us get our fund balance back up. The main question today is if you guys are on board with a 2.5, a 5%, or hypothetically a 0% increase. And then I just put the dental rates and the vision rates. That's just an FYI. Those are split 50-50. Dental did go up 3%, but that's split 1.5% goes to the employee, 1.5% goes to us. It's pretty minor, and vision stayed the same. So again, yeah, do you guys have any questions?
And that I had no idea on that when I
Yeah.
sent that out, so that's why that's.
So I'll work with Haley, and I actually think this chart's really helpful, depending on what we decide for what the rate is going to be. This is a really nice chart to give the department heads, so they can see the departmental share. And then I think Haley and I are gonna work, depending on what's decided, to update some of the littler departments.
Yeah,
And
shouldn't be too many, cause
No.
the sheriff and the engineer have the biggest amount, but.
then,
As you guys know, a couple years ago when they come in and actually presented us with the actuarial amounts, at that time, our fund balance was more
robust.
It was very, but we've had a lot of what do you say, significant claims this
Mhm.
last year on our insurance with,
Yes.
with employees' healths and stuff.
Yes.
So what
It's
is the
tough.
fund balance?
That's on this sheet right here.
Yeah,
Now, these are just estimated numbers because it will be a little different on July 1st. So the fund balance currently is
on that third page, yeah.
is approximately 156,000, but at one point, we were up to, I think, 300,000, which 250 to 300
For about
is,
2 years in a row, we
Yeah.
were pretty consistent there.
yeah, 250 to 300,000 as a reserve is what Katie would like us to have. And this is also kind of the, I don't wanna say the worst case scenario, but this is probably the worst that it would be, and we could potentially end up with a slightly higher reserve, but that's just, they
Right.
estimate based on sort of the worst of what they would expect usage to be. So, and I know that looks like a crap ton of money, but then if you look up top and see, you know, it's 2.178 million in or 1.75 for ISAC, and then we have the partially self-funded, and just with how health insurance is going up. So.
And they did the calendar year, correct? They just got through all those claims through December too.
Yes, they're working on those, yeah. I think, I have a bill I have to get Nancy from Albany for
But it should be pretty close.
run-in claims. But anyways, so it's just a discussion or a decision on, so I think 2.5% is fair. I thought 5% was pushing it a little bit.
So what's this based off of, percentage?
The county premium increase percentage or what?
So the fund balance, I realize if we have more contributed, if we did the 5%, there would be a,
Well, so technically, the fund balance isn't going to change regardless of what we make the employees pay, because the rates we're using is the 1995,
Okay. Yep.
892. No matter what, between what the departments pay and the employees pay, that's the amount that's gonna get set aside. So this was just so you guys could see, based on those amounts, where we could hypothetically end up with a reserve at the end of the year.
Okay.
So the employee portion doesn't directly impact the reserve, that's just more of, we did have just on the ISAC side an 8.4% increase, but because of our existing reserve plus at least we got a 2% discount on health, then that's kind of where I thought 2.5%, and then I'm gonna need everybody's support, honestly, to try to get us a bigger discount through ISAC, so we can go the other way. And one of the main reasons, as Haley mentioned, I was talking to her before the meeting, that our ISAC rate went up. Well, last year they had a 3% one-time discount thing they were doing, that's gone. We had a ton of large claims this past year, which generally those are things you can't help. It's not a wellness thing, it's cancer, it's whatever. So we got penalized a little bit on that, and so that's based on all of those things is how the 8.4. However, I don't think we have to pass on that large of an increase. And then again, use it as motivation. Hey, we kept it as low as we could this year, but let's get our wellness going, and get our premiums down even further next year, hopefully.
We're always taking that gamble
Yes.
when we're partially self-funded
Oh,
to
yeah.
help buy down that deductible for the
Yes.
employees.
And all of those numbers, which that's very detailed, and it's easier when you have all the other sheets with it, but those are checked front ways and backwards, and I mean, that's just how it all works out based on numbers Nancy put together, which Katie verified, to come up with these total costs.
Sure.
So basically, I just was giving that to you guys as informational, and then that way, if you happen to hear any grumbling that maybe a department might have to redo something on their budget sheet, it'll be a lot smoother next year, of a process, and also, I think I'll get the numbers sooner next year. As I mentioned to you guys before, I think it was a little behind, because they got a new staff person, that they're in the process of training, and she sat on my call last night, so I think I'll go back to getting hopefully the numbers a little sooner next time, so.
And we're gonna are you guys wanting to stick with the same plan? Last year we changed that plan, remember?
right?
Because it affected the.
Katie said that has been working flawlessly, and we have not been getting complaints, and and I haven't gotten any complaints about, because really the only thing that changed was the, meeting the primary care provider, and I have not had any issues getting that from new employees. Billing has not been an issue, but yet we're still getting those savings, and the hardest part was, Nancy collecting all of those primary care providers, and we're already established in that now,
So we don't have to do that on a yearly basis.
Nope, I would not recommend,
Unless an employee would change their.
correct, which
provider.
then they let me know and then I get it changed, yeah. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend changing any plans. I didn't even talk about plan changes with Katie. I would stick with what we have. We spent all that time, not
Last
we,
year, yeah.
yeah, but Nancy, and then I came out on the tail end of it, but spent all the time chasing people down, so.
And I was explaining to her also last year when you guys did that change towards the end of the budget, remember? So what I did, it was cushioned a different line item, so especially when we were trying to get the HR department and that. So her and I talked, we'll watch that fund balance. If I need to do a transfer from that over into that, I can, cause I put some extra in Department 99 under general supplemental, so.
Well, the 2.5%, you know, $48.50 per month, 85, as you can very well understand. And so even at 420,
My
It-
son's 26 now, he's realizing how much of that comes out of his paycheck.
it's a hell of a deal. However, when you're talking 48.50 on family plan compared to 98, and I realize we gave everybody a 10% increase, but 7 of it's eaten up with cost of living, so it's technically a 3%. At $48 a month, depending on where you are on the pay scale, is anywhere from 0.5%, just off the top of my head, to 1.5%. And so, as usual, you know, depending
But-
where you are on the pay scale, that's why I'd hate to see that we'd go clear up to a 5%.
I'm not for that.
I am, if they're gonna
think
realize,
gradually, maybe
I
what she
wasn't
said.
for it either, honestly,
Yeah.
so they were kind of pushing for it, and I told her my reasoning, and I do think we should do the 2.5%, but my reasoning for not doing the 5 and not jumping it up that much is I'm really hoping that we can use this as motivation for people to understand that the only reason we're not jumping to that is because we did get that 2%, which saves us $30,000 approximately dollars, and I wanna build on that,
Yep.
especially with them making the program easier. But
well, I'm just afraid if we
it
did this.
really is, and we don't wanna get used to not having increases, because that's not normal.
I
Our
know.
plan is probably never gonna start going down in price, but if we can get a nice reserve and just keep it where we're doing steady Eddie, as little as possible raises, getting our wellness discount, and not having to, in my previous county, oh man, we about had a mutiny, we did like an 11% raise one year. Holy moly, they could have murdered you know, so we just wanna be logical about it, but also not traumatize our employees with a super high amount, so.
Another thing too that we've been doing the last couple of years is those employees that participated in all 4 tiers, they got $15 a month.
Mhm.
So that's something that we get reimbursed with ISAC, so.
In addition to the $200, yeah, so that was one of the things, I have an email out to Molly, so you have to be very careful how we phrase,
Yeah.
how we do it for those who participate and who don't participate, so I don't really wanna get into it too much yet.
Yeah.
But I do have an email out to them being ISAC, the wellness person, to see what other counties do to reward, and not that $200 isn't a good amount of money, it's a nice amount of money, but we really want people, I mean, because it does make a difference, we really want people to be participating, especially with this year's changes making it
Right.
nearly, I mean, just a lot simpler to get, so.
Yep.
So yeah, I am looking into
I
that.
had
I
a
mean,
few
this-
ask me ahead of time, and so I thought, yeah, we
Yeah.
probably need to address that because some of them are, yeah.
So we want, you know, because I have heard, well, gosh, I participate in wellness and I get the same cost increase. I totally feel it. You do at least get the 200 to offset it, but we want that 200 to be a thank you for doing it, not an offsetting the increase. So I'm gonna look into other proposals, that'll be later, to see what we can do to continue to encourage increased participation in wellness, so.
Well, bottom line, if we did the 5%, the people on the lower pay
Yeah.
salary-wise, they wouldn't see any increase. It'd be chewed up in the
taxes,
insurance increase and in income tax, obviously. So, do you need a motion to move
Just wait.
forward here?
Next year, it's too late this year to do it, but I was just going over the ISAC sheet that Haley gave us,
Mhm.
okay?
What, I'm sorry, I don't know what's on it.
Okay, I'm gonna let
It
you,
had those different plans, like what was
Oh,
the
Yeah.
plan,
sure.
11B.
Okay.
anyway, yeah, there's a lot more 11E, 11F, 11C.
Comparing them to the other
I-
counties.
Oh, the other
Right.
counties, yeah, I
Mhm.
think some of those, I'll have to ask Katie the difference in all of those. We did talk about those a little bit, I think it just kind of depends on their reserve, their size, their employee population, who takes benefits, that kind of a thing, so we can
Yeah.
look,
That
we
could be
can-
their deductible was
yeah, their
different.
deductible could be $3,000 instead of $500, which I would like to keep our plan as competitive as we can, and I really think we need to start using that as a selling point to people, because other than governmental entities, and not all of them, you don't get a $500 and $1,000 deductible. I wanna use that as a, hey, come work, we're obviously increasing, but we can get more into detail next year. I can work with Katie to, see why they're taking the popular plans, so.
And does Katie only, not to change the subject, but when we're, this time of year, we're always getting solicited by other vendors to come quote our insurance. Are they specifically only work with ISAC?
Yes, and I don't want to change at this point because we've got some really good systems going on and I work great with Katie. I'm getting tasks finally worked out to be smooth.
Well, that's been a nightmare.
It's not, it's getting better. So everything is just finally starting to smooth out. I don't want to make any drastic changes to the primary benefits. A lot of those people that come are just a supplemental benefit, and you know what, you can send me an email with what you have, and if something looks so good we can't pass it up, then I can see if we want to do it. But the regular core benefits, I want to stay through ISAC right now.
Okay, Rick, I'll take that motion now.
Okay, I'll make that a motion that we increase the health insurance by 2.5%.
Employee portion.
Employee share.
Employee portion,
Share.
thank you, by 2.5%,
And then we'll probably put the amount that it will be,
with the amounts, do you want the 371 and
the
the for
371
family
a
and
month,
the
and then
9470
for single.
for single? And that we're gonna leave the dental and vision.
Well, I'll probably list those rates too, since they did increase. like
The
she said.
dental increased 3%,
Yeah.
I
so
see
if you
that.
want to list those.
So that,
Yep.
you still wanna keep that 50/50?
Yes. I was gonna say, keep it as we were doing.
Yep.
And that's
As
what
far
this
as-
chart that is on here, that's
Yes.
what I made the
Yeah.
assumption.
Okay, cause
Okay.
I'll list all that individually, that way everybody
Okay.
sees it. and-
So, that's my motion.
Okay,
And, vision is the same,
Yeah,
Yep.
vision did not
Yep.
change.
second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I can email you this stuff over to Haley, just so you can see the chart.
This one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna list those in that motion though.
That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but I'll take those other two choices out, and then that one will have just the one word.
That'd be great, and then, like, you and I can look at that as a moving
Money.
Yep,
And do you have my wellness?
agreement right here.
Okay, perfect. I'll make a copy of that and give it to you too.
Kristen, is there a way to let employees know what, the outcome is gonna be if we don't participate and that type of thing?
Like
And
now,
she
since
explained
it's
it,
coming to October.
yes. She had explained it, and it seems that you can tell them, but
Well, without that 2%, we'd be looking at about a 5%
it's
increase.
exactly right. How can we reach out to everyone to get them to understand
And it's so easy
this?
to get on those
There,
apps. and
as
do
I
those.
mentioned,
It's so user
well, but
friendly.
there are some people who won't even provide an email to sign up because they've been solicited by ISAC when they took over. We have some who won't even provide an email. As I mentioned in the meeting, talking about wellness, we had some people, I don't want them to know my height, my weight, and my whatever, and the whole random CPAP stuff. and us forcing people to do things. Well, now they aren't going to have to provide any of that. They literally just self-report that they had,
Out.
that they had a preventative screening or whatever. We don't have any numbers. Some other people didn't want to do blood draws, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping not being required to do a blood draw will help. And then if we figure out a way to sort of plump it up on the back end, to give employees a little bit more, then I'm hoping that will increase it too. But I really think the biggest change is going to be ISAC changing the program, and that's not a guarantee, as they made sure to tell me, that is not a guarantee it's gonna stay this way. It's to see how it goes, and I assume to see if they can get more participation.
Yeah.
So the assumption would be that alone should get us some more participation, and we're always gonna have a percentage of people that are not going to do it, so.
And perhaps if you are sending a letter out, it wouldn't hurt to say, this year, because of this,
Yep.
we're at $48
Mhm.
increase,
I agree.
where if you hadn't had this 2%, you'd have been at 98.
Yep, and
And-
here's what the county saved just
Yeah.
with the 2%.
And
Correct.
that blood draw thing was a hindrance.
Yes.
Well,
People
and
didn't
now
like
if they
it,
get
and
the
also
physical,
when they
they'll
got to
we can
their
send it in
doctor.
ourselves.
You don't even have to
The
send
doctor said,
anything
well, you're
in.
not
You
doing
just go into
some
the
people,
portal and
and
put
so
the date you
then
had it.
Because you used
We're
to have
not
to have a
gonna
doctor
do it.
send it in for
And
you.
so I
Nope.
think that kind of hindered some of it.
Yeah. So I cannot see, for those who have any inkling to participate, I feel like the barriers that were kind of making it so they didn't want to take that next step.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for a lot of those people, the barriers are now gone. And the two ways we get our discount are the online assessment, we have to get to 60%, and then the preventative screening, like them just self-reporting their preventative screening. The other things that they do in those other 4 categories, that's just to get them extra money, that doesn't benefit us, it's important, but those are not the ones that benefit
So
Benton County.
are you gonna be sending a letter out to the
I'll
county
probably put it in
employees?
We'll do a payroll.
Yeah, I
stuff.
have Nancy do payroll
Okay.
stuffers, I'm not sure if I'll get it, I'll try to get it to her before this upcoming week.
And is there a form that, I have doctor appointments, but I've never gotten a form or come in specially to get a form to
We did it in
take?
the payroll stuffers more than once this year.
Okay,
And it was like a physical form,
Mhm.
and then it would say specifically, you have your doctor fill it out and fax it in. But
But
we
this-
sent it out more than once.
Yeah, but this year, you don't have to literally do anything other than you go into your wellness portal, you self-report your physical preventative screening, you put a date, and then on the back end, ISAC and Wellmark can just see that you had a visit that day, and they'll know that you had your screening, and then off you go.
That's huge.
So the
Yeah,
that would
wellness
be
check,
helpful.
the wellness check for the 75 comes directly to your home. The other comes to
Comes-
the county, and
yes.
then we put it on as a taxable benefit on their payroll.
Yeah.
So
So this year, it's just going into the portal, which our goal, my goal is to start not hammering people with it, but starting to communicate it sooner. I just don't have the time right at this second, but eventually I like to make a nice colored flyer to try to draw attention to it, to say, hey, let's start getting these done now. That way they have all year to get it scheduled and hopefully get it in there, and then we're not waiting till the last minute.
Is it still October?
Yes,
The
that has
deadline,
not
the
changed.
31st?
Yes.
do you think, with COVID, do you think we'll have an all-employee
I'm not
meeting yet again?
Well, let's just hope it goes away.
Because a lot of times,
Yeah.
not that we got a lot, but I would set up laptops at those meetings, and I might have got 7 more people to participate just because they were there and we did it for them.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and we had talked about, so Lori from the county attorney's office was very helpful with me in reaching out to people and kind of helping me get participation, because she knows obviously more people in town than I do, and going, hey, do this for me. She was gonna help, and she thought maybe the wellness committee could go to Secondary Road and say, hey, do you need help getting on? But a lot of people have accounts, it's just whether or not they know their account, and I actually have all those emails and things. So if people don't know like what email they use, for example, I have the email list for those who put them in there, which I think there's only not a ton of people that don't have emails, and the ones that don't, like I said, they refuse, they don't do it or don't want it.
Just throwing this out here. is it possible, legal, if somebody comes in and say, Kristen, I wanna do my wellness, you're good at the computer, I'll give you the answers. Can you do that?
I would have to see what it's asking me. If it's gonna ask, I can't remember what's on that health summary. It's probably
It's
stuff.
individualized.
Yeah, it's probably-
It's nothing she could answer. She could get them
Yeah, I
to
was
it.
gonna say, it gets to
It-
towards the end, it's more personal.
It
Yeah.
asks you your,
Like if you're-
it's on you, but it's easy.
It's easy.
I already
like,
did mine.
Well,
It's
a lot
easy.
of it's just clicking, if I remember. So if they needed to
If
even
they
go,
just need a computer or a desktop, laptop,
Mhm.
that's what I said I did at the all
Mhm.
employee meeting.
and
But
they have
they had to have the email for one thing.
and well, that's the thing. I don't think it's the not knowing how to do. I think it's just not. It's effort to take the next step to make sure you know your login and your password. But they do have an app, which I think they gave me a flyer. I have an online flyer I can print that they, I guess, have revamped their app too. So you can even like log in on your phone and just, you just click your answers. It's not like you're typing, oh, stop it. Well, yeah.
I say, how's that work for you, Tracy?
He's gonna have to
Yeah.
upgrade, or you're not gonna have
Tracy, get
service
your
with
smartphone
4G
out.
or
Oh, wait.
whatever. Did you know that? Did they warn you?
Oh, they're
Is his
making you
like-
get rid of
Well,
it.
they said
Is yours like Mars?
With
that that
upcoming
old one?
tower
Flip phone.
sites and
That's
stuff,
what
they're
Mars-
not gonna do the 3G.
You don't wanna get
it off.
That don't
But
have
it's
the
gonna go
4Gs and
away.
stuff, it's not gonna work.
I love my flip phone.
He
But
loves it.
Anyway, so for those who aren't Tracy, who have a smartphone or a tablet or whatever, you can get the app. And I believe there's a flyer that they gave me. I have a bunch of materials to look through that are online that I can send over to Nancy to stick in there. So there's multitudes of ways. I mean, most people, I can't say all, most people have some access
Or
to,
you can get to,
or yes, or you know what,
Computers
see if you
will
can
do it.
borrow a computer at the courthouse or.
there's plenty.
Yeah, I don't
You
have
can
a
get
problem
on.
if they come in and I have an office in the back, I could let them, as long as they do their own, if they need a laptop or computer station, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem helping.
But yeah, if we did a meeting, I'd have them bring that.
What I'm getting at, that's why
Yeah.
I'm throwing this option out
I know
there,
what you
because
mean.
next year, when we come to the same thing again, it's pretty simple. You didn't participate, you're gonna pay 5%.
Mhm.
You participate, you only pay 2.5%. That's the way I look at it.
It has to be phrased a little more delicately than that legally, but yeah,
Don't be
he's
mean.
not breaking the law yet, because we're not doing it. There's ways you have to do things to not penalize the people who don't participate, but yet reward the people who do. It's a very fine line, but I walked this line in my previous position, so
So
I'm okay with it.
if you're not gonna penalize people
You can't call it a penalty. Let's just,
somebody's gonna have to write out a check.
yeah. It's something we can discuss in a 20.9 personnel management meeting at a later date, but there's ways around to do what you're saying, it's just you can't phrase it like that, so.
Now, you said there might be a rate increase. Is that gonna be next year, or can that be any?
Oh, no,
Time in between.
it would be the same time next year for a July increase. I can't say that there will be one. My assumption, just based on how Katie was saying that they have some non-governmental plans that they work with, that their rates went up 35%.
Oh, yeah.
So at some point, something will probably have to give, but for now, I think ISAC is doing the best they can to cost manage. And that's why it's just, I wanna make sure we get as high of a discount as we can. I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we get the full 6%, because it's a pretty high per 5%, yeah, it's 1 and then 4. I don't know if we'll ever get quite to that top threshold, but even if we can get another % or 2, I mean, at $15,000 a percentage is how it broke out for our 2%, that's a big deal. So the more we can get, the better. And we'll just, again, we'll figure that out.
So with the insurance rates too, with your motion, should we do a payroll stuffer coming up next week probably?
Yeah,
So
yes,
that they know ahead of time.
yes, yep. Well, I mean, they have till July.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't go.
They
I'd
got
rather
it.
them know it that way before they read it.
No,
in
I
the
know,
paper.
yeah, I'll get it out. I don't know if I'll give it to Nancy this next week.
The only one that needs to know it right away is,
Well,
Scott.
Katie and Scott, well, Scott does,
Scott,
but,
does, yeah.
and
The
that's what
meeting
I
on
talked
Monday.
about, if he published off that other, he's a single guy in that department, we'll make it work for him, so.
And since I already did mine
Yep.
with that 8.4, it's not that much.
It's not much
difference.
difference
And we
because you
didn't do
did
the other,
yeah.
so I think
Yep.
it'll be fine.
Yeah, most of them will be fine, but those
Yeah.
bigger departments, I wanna
Yeah.
make sure we get it done right.
And so then.
Cause
this
what was it, 15, what did we put, what was the amount?
15,
77, right?
77, and then, so I come up
And
with like
it's-
$48.09.
But then the
difference,
single
and then
plan is quite a bit.
Yeah, the single one is more than the family one,
Yeah.
so,
So 16,
but that's just, like, last year I knew when they took that different action later on, I put a cushion in a different line item
well, and
to
you're a
cover
department
that,
of
so.
3, so
Yeah.
that's a little different than these department, you know, at, not quite $50 a month per person, per month. And then the single's quite a bit more, cause that was
Mhm.
701, right?
And I could almost do it that way again, just go back into that,
Mhm.
where I had the cushion before, and take care of it, and just make sure I move that lump sum all at once, at the end of
Whatever
the year,
you,
beginning.
whatever
So-
you need to do it, I just wanna make sure we get it funded appropriately, so.
So we take it, we take the withholdings out of the payroll side,
Mhm.
and we take the check down, and then we deposit it into the insurance fund, for those of you that don't understand. We call them buckets, you take from one, put it in the other, and then we pay our health insurance bills out of the 8,500 fund, cause it's not a levying fund.
So, yeah, however we need to do that, or whatever, if you need me to do anything, let me know. I just wanted to make sure we got those rates
Yep.
out there, so that we,
Yep, it's a big part of our budget, so I'm glad
Yes.
it's done.
Yeah.
Cause I'm hoping, we'll set our maximum levy notice and get moving on that. My goal is to have our budget hearing the 15th of March. We should know all the, cause that's when I'll know like the payment plan and all that for the bonds, cause I have to publish all that, and then the parking lot. So I think the big picture, we'll have the worst case scenarios done, so.
Well, the 15th of March would be after the parking lot.
But I have to publish in the paper before that, so I have to give me time to publish, and then not less than 20 or more than 10 days, so, or not less than 10, more than 20. Yep. So,
I'm gonna go make you a copy, Haley, of this real quick.
perfect.
Is it okay if I keep that one?
So is there anything else
Okay,
budget-wise you guys wanna hash out now for me to change or anything? You're gonna let Ben Bonar know on his equipment and stuff, because those are levying funds. And those are gonna have to go up for those purchases and stuff, so.
I think he's got it in his budget, doesn't he?
But he's,
But it's in, it's
in
his
the wrong one.
insurance stuff, so, and I'm talking going forward for next year too, for if he's gonna have another employee, I need to know all those things because that's a separate levy. And that's one of them for the maximum notice and stuff, so.
He's gonna be more efficient when he's spraying. He only needs one person to spray
yeah,
instead of
but
two.
the truck ain't ordered yet, so.
I mean, I'm trying to finagle things around. I've already told you, I talked to the maintenance between 70 and 30. I talked to Ron, the sheriff's office, for making sure we can spread at least one deputy into rural services. You know, because obviously we're at the max.
See you, Barb.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we're gonna be over that 3% max no matter what because of our valuation increase, and if you keep the levy the same, it still shows more than that maximum notice, so we still have to publish and describe why, so. I mean, I anticipate
Cause
our
after
values.
Monday, he's hoping to generate enough money to pay for a deputy out of the,
Correct, the dispatch, and
Yeah.
I've been getting some positive feedback. One city suggested that we do it per capita, like per population per capita.
That would make sense.
So I don't know what all they're proposing. I think their goal is to at least pay for one full-time. And yesterday I did that, what do they call that rating, Emma rating or whatever. It went well. They think, just, overall thoughts of what I had to sit through and go over all of our increase, decreases, different scenarios. It was like an hour and a half thing. It was like 6 of us, and I was like in the hot seat answering all these questions, so it was interesting. But Nate said I did good, and I think we are gonna score really well.
that's the bond service.
Yep, That was what that preliminary, what he suggested, we will know February 9th, I think he said. So if that's the case, it'll be worth that money paying for it, cause we'll have the lower interest. For sure. But overall, he said we should score in the highest grading.
Minutes that you got,
Yep.
take a look at that.
Is that the one I sent you yesterday?
Yep. You got $12. I think he was at 12, and
Oh,
wasn't he
yep,
going
you're
to
right.
15?
Yep, you're right. Good catch. See? That's why you guys gotta approve your minutes. What else were we gonna talk about? Oh, so the parking lot.
Yeah, where do you wanna meet? You wanna do it right here? Print
Yeah,
an
we can.
ad, find an ad?
Well, I had one for, a lot of them for the transportation building. We can keep that.
That's good.
Do you know the dimension?
Yes,
Cause I would think we'd have to give them that so they know their material
yes.
costs.
The only thing I don't have the dimension is on this side, cause I give him all my
You know what?
measurements.
I bet we could get it off pictometry, cause we can measure it. I mean, it'd be a
Let me
rough
think a little
estimate.
bit. 70, 75, and 75 and 10, 85, 90. So it was 90. 90 was the width.
You gotta do around the, south side of the building too?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, 90, and then how depth was it? 45.
Don't forget Monday night,
Right.
What's
EMA.
Monday night?
EMA meeting at, what did I post the agenda at? So
And
we're gonna
prior
meet,
to
we're gonna,
We gotta be there before
Yeah.
6.
we're going at 5:30, I thought it was, to go, or was it 6?
Where's it
6.
at?
6. We're gonna go in the
We got-
sheriff's conference room first
At 6?
at 6.
To meet with the mayors and all that.
Mhm.
Well, the two, it's for the this one's for the dispatch.
They're sending a letter out to all the mayors.
Yeah, but that's gonna be at February meeting later, cause I already sent that out, me and Lindemann. There's 2 different ones we're doing.
Yeah, I got it down at 6.
Yep,
I have EMA at 6.
6:30.
At 6:30.
Yeah.
6:30
So
is
I
the regular
posted it at
EMA meeting.
6 so that we could do our first discussion and then we'll
Alright.
go down to Scott's area.
I know Belle Plaine is,
They'll plan in Benton for that one.
they understand.
Yep, I don't think it'll be a problem.
They don't know how the hell they're gonna pay for it, but they understand.
And like I said, I've heard, cause John Lindemann and I sent out that to all the clerks. Because even if we don't meet till the 10th with them, I think they need to know now too for budgets, so. So that
Yeah,
would
you
be-
can't wait till after they do their budget, then send them an increase.
No.
That ain't gonna work.
Mm-mm. No, because especially when they have to publish their maximum notices and stuff too.
Mhm.
Which some of them have already been in the paper, so hopefully we're not too late as it is, but. Alright, so do you have, let's see, next week I have on the agenda. Benton County Volunteer, she's coming back in. Kate Robertson. Historic Preservation, and then I have parking lot at Service Center, but maybe we don't need to do anything, cause you were gonna get cement. Do you wanna just wait, since we know we're doing the bids and?
This meeting Monday at 6, where's it at?
Sheriff's office.
So come in the main door, cause we're gonna go in their conference room first, cause we're gonna be
Okay.
separate from where Scott's area is.
It's at 6 o'clock, right?
Yep. And then you have February 10th for Farm Bureau while you're writing it down?
Yeah, I got that
Okay.
one. This one,
And then we might have one that Thursday for the bids for the parking lot too, right? Does everybody, we'll have to decide that.
You want that on the
Because I have
10th
to
also?
put that date as far as when we're opening them.
Okay.
So let's hash that out while they're here, I guess, and then we'll know the date for sure if it works for everybody.
Well, it all depends when you get it in the paper. If you wanna count back,
Well, I know if I
if
get
you
it done
start on
today,
Monday,
I can get it to, hopefully the Gazette could be the Monday, otherwise, worst case scenario, Tuesday for Benton anyway, so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days would be Thursday the 10th. So if I publish it, it would be less than 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I should be able to get them in the papers all next week, Tuesday, Friday, and then whatever the Gazette, so we should be covered.
so
Because her meeting's the 11th, so I think if we do it on the 10th, do you guys want to shoot for the afternoon, morning?
afternoon,
Afternoon after lunch again, like
Yeah.
1:30?
yeah.
So I'll put
2 o'clock works good for me.
2, well, I can have the bids be at my office by 1:30. Is then I have to stamp them in and then come over here for our meeting at 2. 'Cause I mean,
That's
that way
next week?
people can still-
No,
No, February 10th.
that's the same day of the Farm Bureau.
So if you're already in town at 2, maybe you wanna make it later.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, you wanna make it at, what time's the Farm Bureau? I don't have no time on that.
That's at 6.
But I'm gonna have here for the city people, so do you wanna just do it earlier than that?
You're gonna have here for the city people, what do you mean?
That's what other email I sent you, for all the cities for the law enforcement contracts.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna meet with them, because I figure you're already in town that night, because we're inviting all
Yeah.
those.
So what time are we gonna have that one?
That one I tentatively put, which granted, I've only heard from a couple cities that shouldn't be a problem.
We can set the meeting time anytime we want.
Well, I was
We-
just gonna set one agenda, or do you want two? I could do this Farm Bureau one separate, I guess, and then one here. We can act on law enforcement contracts with the cities, and then we can act on the parking lot bids.
True.
As long as I can get that sent out to Mona for
That
hers,
could be 5 o'clock,
probably.
okay or not?
4:30.
4:30, think that,
What time you meet with the city though? What was that
Well,
letter?
what we sent them, we were just hoping, we wanted to give them a heads up and asked them if that time would work, if that day would work.
But
Like
no
5,
time?
I think we put 5-ish,
You did?
yeah.
I don't
Okay.
remember seeing it.
I don't remember
Well, I
seeing
sent
it
you
either.
guys separate than what I sent the city clerks, so, on a separate one. And let's see, I heard back from Atkins and Belle Plaine, which Belle Plaine's already kind of knows, and maybe they're all gonna respond and be okay with it and not have to meet, but I just figured give them a chance.
Well, if we're gonna meet at Farm Bureau at 6, to give us plenty of time, it'd be 4:30.
If we had to break in between, because they feed you at Farm Bureau.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 4:30, not 5? That's what you're saying?
That's what Gary's suggesting.
I don't know. I just don't wanna
How long
get,
is this gonna take with the city?
I have no idea. This is the sheriff that's asking for it, Lindeman.
I'm all right, 4:30, I don't care.
Okay. You two be the ones that has to twiddle thumbs until 6.
well, I ain't going home and coming
I
back.
know, that's just it.
It don't matter, but I don't wanna short the first meeting
Right,
to go to the second meeting.
correct. So let's just say 4:30 then.
Okay.
So I'll just make 2 agendas so I remember. And
It
then
takes
we'll put that time frame in our notice to the paper before the bids. Or actually, yeah, I might say earlier to my office,
Yeah, this is 5:30 on here.
5:30.
That's what you've got for
Yeah.
time with the mayors.
Okay, so maybe 5 then. John didn't seem to think it was gonna take that long as why. But I know how that goes too. We always think that and then there's more.
Yeah, I know.
And that's not set in stone, so.
Okay.
The biggest problem that I see with this Farm Bureau meeting, is getting enough room between the meetings.
I think I got it, the rates that he sent.
If one of them, if the first meeting goes long, then you're, of course, it ain't that big a deal if you come a little late.
Well, that's kind of my goal is why they like to see the budget as a whole, and sometimes we're still working on the big picture.
Yeah.
So, I almost wish they'd wait a month for us to come,
Yeah,
because
I
then
know.
it's pretty much done and published, and we can explain it all, and, but,
and the whole thing was because they were having issues 20, 30 years ago with the budgets. That's why the Farm Bureau wanted to offer
I know
their,
there's different reasons why you can levy it.
I always
Or
got
not
gun shy of going to the Farm Bureau, because what if we had to go to some other community function to explain the budget, you know?
It's always bad.
I know. It just, why aren't we going to the Lions Club? Why don't we go down to Blairstown
I went and
Kawana's,
spoke at some of those before, but it wasn't budget, it was more election stuff.
yeah, I know. Motion to adjourn? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, I am.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll look at the bathroom, we'll be right back.
Yep, we'll make our notice.